This is the 7-year tribulation. And these 7 years will be divided in two. The first 3.5 years and the second 3.5 years. Daniel chapter 9 verse 20. Now while I was speaking, praying, and confessing my sin and the sin of my people Israel, and presenting my supplication before the Lord my God for the holy mountain of my God. Yes, while I was speaking in prayer, the man Gabriel, whom I had seen in the vision at the beginning, being caused to fly swiftly, reached me about the time of the evening offering. And he informed me and talked with me and said, O Daniel, I have now come forth to give you skill to understand. At the beginning of your supplications, the command went out, and I have come to tell you, for you are greatly beloved. Therefore, consider the matter and understand the vision. Let me explain the background to this. A long time ago, around 600 BC, the Israelites were taken captive to Babylon. And at that time, the prophet Daniel was also taken. They lived in captivity in Babylon, and later also under Persian rule. But one day, while Daniel was reading the book of Jeremiah, he came to see that their life in captivity was to come to an end after 70 years. So Daniel prayed before God. He prayed to God, confessing his sins and the sins of the Israelites. And since the Israelites were in captivity at that time, Daniel was praying about this. And God sent the angel Gabriel to him to give Daniel an answer to his prayer. This is the background to this passage. Gabriel is one of the angels. He is the angel that delivers news. Then there is an angel called Michael. He is an angel of war who battles against the devil. So Gabriel appeared to Daniel and told him he had received grace. He said he had come to bring him good news. Then from verse 24, we read the news Gabriel was bringing. Verse 24, 70 weeks are determined for your people and for your holy city, to finish the transgression, to make an end of sins, to make reconciliation for iniquity, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal up vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. Let me explain what this means. This was in about 600 BC. It was actually a little after 600 BC. But a set time had been determined for the Israelites, and that time was 70 weeks. So 70 times 7 days. When a week of 7 days had gone by 70 times, 7 times 7 is 49, so this is 490. When 490 days had passed, what was going to happen? Let's look here. 70 weeks are determined for your people and for your holy city. When those 70 weeks have come to an end, it says, to finish the transgression. What does this mean, to finish the transgression? It means the sins of all the people in this world will come to an end. The world will then be without sin. To make an end of sins, to make reconciliation for iniquity, there will be eternal redemption. To bring in everlasting righteousness, and the righteousness of God will be revealed. To seal up vision and prophecy. All the prophecies recorded in the Bible, all these prophecies will be fulfilled. All the visions and all the prophecies will be fulfilled. That's what this is saying. And then it says, to anoint the most holy. It says, to anoint. This period here began in about 600 BC, and it has been at least 2,600 years since then. So what is this 490 days? It says that these things will happen when 490 days have passed. In the book of Numbers and in Ezekiel chapter 4, it says that 1 day is calculated as 1 year. 1 day is calculated as 1 year. In that case, this is 490 years. When 490 years have passed from this point in time, sin will disappear from this world, and Jesus will return as king. That's what this means. What's he talking about? About 2,600 years have already passed since then. It's already a long time since those 490 years had passed. How can he say such a thing? That's what you're thinking, isn't it? This is what makes the Bible rather difficult to understand. Verse 25. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the command, this is a command, the command to restore and build Jerusalem until Messiah the Prince, there shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. Nehemiah chapter 2 verse 1. And it came to pass in the month of Nisan, in the 20th year of King Artaxerxes, when wine was before him, that I took the wine and gave it to the king. Now I had never been sad in his presence before. Therefore the king said to me, Why is your face sad, since you are not sick? This is nothing but sorrow of heart. So I became dreadfully afraid, and said to the king, May the king live forever. Why should my face not be sad, when the city, the place of my father's tombs, lies waste, and its gates are burned with fire? Then the king said to me, What do you request? So I prayed to the God of heaven, and I said to the king, If it pleases the king, and if your servant has found favor in your sight, I ask that you send me to Judah, to the city of my father's tombs, that I may rebuild it. Then the king said to me, the queen also sitting beside him, How long will your journey be, and when will you return? So it pleased the king to send me, and I set him a time. Let's just read up to there. Let me explain the background to this passage. Just as Daniel, as I said earlier, was taken captive to Babylon, the prophet Nehemiah was also taken captive. And at the time of the Persian Empire, after the fall of the Babylonian Empire, at the time of King Artaxerxes, it was the task of the prophet Nehemiah to make wine and serve it to the king. That was also a position of considerable responsibility at that time. Nehemiah was a prophet of Judah. One day, Nehemiah heard that Jerusalem was completely in ruins, and he was deeply saddened by this news. His face was ashen and full of concern when he went to serve wine to the king. So King Artaxerxes said, It looks like you're worried about something. Why do you look so worried? So the prophet Nehemiah said, I am indeed worried about something. Jerusalem, the capital city of my country, is completely in ruins. The city has been destroyed and lies in ruins. How can I not be concerned? So the king said, What do you request? So Nehemiah said, Please send me there so that I can rebuild the city. Nehemiah put forth his request in this way, and King Artaxerxes granted his request. So the command to build the city, to reconstruct the city, was given. This was about 445 BC. 445 BC. So, once 490 years had passed from 445 BC, Jesus will return. There will be no more sin in the world, and all the prophecies will be fulfilled. But isn't this calculation wrong? There were 445 years following that year BC, and about 2,000 years AD, which makes about 2,500 years. So how can this be explained? Daniel chapter 9, verse 25. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the command to restore and build Jerusalem until Messiah the Prince. Look what it says here. There shall be 7 weeks. 7 weeks is 49 years. 49 years. 49 years after that, the city of Jerusalem was rebuilt. It took 49 years for it to be completed. And next, 62 weeks. 62 weeks. 2 times 7 is 14, and 60 times 7 is 420. That makes 434. If we add this with 7 times 7, which is 49, it makes 483 years. Now, If it is 483 years, it's a few years short of 490, isn't it? There are 7 years missing. There are 7 years missing. Look what it says here. Verse 25. Until Messiah the Prince, there shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. The street shall be built again, and the wall, even in troublesome times. And after the 62 weeks, Messiah shall be cut off, but not for himself. When it says that Messiah shall be cut off, it means that Jesus will die on the cross. And the people of the prince who is to come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. The end of it shall be with a flood. And till the end of the war, desolations are determined. So, what happened as a result of Jesus' death on the cross? The history of Israel came to an end. This actually happened in AD 70, but it was through Jesus' death on the cross that things came to an end. So, look here. This time period here forms a gap. It's a period of time during which the history of the country of Israel does not exist. So how many years short are we? How many? After 483 years, the history of Israel was no more. So how many years are needed in order to complete the 490? This is why there will be these 7 years. Now look at verse 27. Then he shall confirm a covenant with many for 1 week. This he that we are considering today is the person referred to as 666. It is talking about the ruler of the world. 1 week is 7 years. He will make a covenant with the Israelites for 7 years. But in the middle of the week, that's after 3.5 years. After 3.5 years, he shall bring an end to sacrifice and offering. When it says that he shall bring an end to it, it means that there will come a time when he will betray and torment Israel. The Great Tribulation will take place during the first 3.5 years of the tribulation. This is how it will be. So when it comes to the 7 years, it means that the 7 years needed to fulfill the prophecy in regard to the history of the Israelites will come. So in certain respects, this 7 years is a time of restoration for the Israelites. But for the world, it will be a time of judgment. This is why these 7 years has been calculated in here.